Yeah, I'll just stand up as you.
Going to be on the right podium.
Mm-hmm. Mine's on. Mine's on.
What did you say?
It's on. Me too. Me too. You think anybody will notice if it's all black?
Because
I'm on. Mm-hmm. It's not. Should we sit together in the middle or on one side? Okay.
Shana Tova.
Shana Tova.
My name is Alan Brenneton, as your temple president, and on behalf of the entire board, I'm deeply honored and very excited to welcome you to Congregation Emanu-El for the 173rd time our community has celebrated these sacred days together. It is truly a privilege for me to serve this historic institution, its members, and the broader community. I didn't expect that I would be saying something like this once again, but what a year we've had. I know what my mother of blessed memory would say about this past year. It would be something like, oy vey, Esmir. We are still battling a global pandemic which continues to cause major economic disruption, and it seems that social distancing and masks will remain the norm for a while longer. It may not be Pesach, but I can say with some confidence that these high holy days will once again be different from all others. Our wonderful clergy team led by Rabbi Singer, along with the fabulous temple staff led by Executive Director David Goldman, have been working diligently for months to be sure that both our congregants and members of the broader community are able to experience a deeply meaningful and spiritually uplifting high holy days. Whether you are here in the sanctuary or watching from home, we intend for you all to have the opportunity to stand before God as we embark on celebrating the new year and the days of awe. It is our hope that we each discover the joy that results when prayer comes directly from the heart and renews ourselves, our souls, and our lives. When we truly pray from the heart, the Torah says that God will fulfill what we have uttered. It is our hope that you enjoy the services, that your hearts are filled with joy, and that each and every one of you are able to stay safe and well.
Thank you so much, Alan, for that welcome. And on behalf of all of your clergy, it's really good to see your faces.
Amen.
Here.
Amen.
And I remember 18 months ago when I would actually see someone before we were wearing masks, and I thought of the biblical verse between Jacob and Esau, seeing your face is like seeing the face of God. And even though we can only see each other's eyes, there is something so special in greeting one another. You can only imagine what it's like for us. It was completely empty last Rosh HaShanah. None of you were able to be here, and so it is a great blessing to have as many of you here, and wherever you are streaming in from, we are filled with joy, trepidation, and a sense of blessing. Tonight, as we are standing here, we also want to let you know that we are all vaccinated, and each week the clergy has been tested, and so we have been working together in this way, and we are very safe up here and sound. The holiday candles that you see before you have a different meaning this year. We light these two candles for Rosh Hashanah, one representing Nachamu, comfort, and one representing hope. How much comfort, how much more comfort do we need this year after these past 18 months? The idea of Nachamu is for us to give ourselves that opportunity at this Rosh Hashanah to feel comforted by this almost 4,000-year-old tradition, by the feeling of being together once again in this holy sanctuary, the comfort of knowing that no matter what, after 173 years, we are Hinenu. We are here together.
And that comfort when we look back for how long we've been together as a community, for how long the Jewish people have been here, the other half is tikva, which is hope. And hope implies that there's the possibility of a better future. And hope, it's not a passive exercise in wishing, but it's actually an active approach to life, arising when there's something we want and we have a clear goal in mind that we're just not there yet. Now, hope, it's been the cornerstone of Judaism since the inception of Judaism. That's what we came up with when we came up with the messianic idea. The fact that we face our synagogues everywhere in the world towards one location, dreaming of what the world could be, Jerusalem. And all of us are exhausted after these 18 months, which is normal. But what we do is we recognize our reality, and then we lean forward. We lean east, knowing that the world is not as it ought to be. See, that is the magic of Judaism. It's the rejection of the is in the embrace of the ought. That is tikva. That is hope.
As we invite the Levine family up to light the holiday candles, we also invite people who are with us virtually all over the world to find some candles in your home wherever you are and to light them with us, and then to place those candles in a place where other people may see them and feel comforted and feel that sense of tikva.
Together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehatlik ner shel Yom Tov.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'echianu v'kiryamanu v'higyanu la'azman hazeh.
Comfort, oh comfort my people. Comfort, oh comfort my friend. Comfort, oh comfort my people. Comfort, oh comfort my friend. Nachamu, nachamu, Ami, Yomar Elohechem. Nachamu, nachamu, Ami, Yomar Elohechem. Speak to the heart of Jerusalem. Tell her the fight will be over. Speak to the heart of Jerusalem. Tell her the fighting will end. Dabru elev Yerushalayim v'kiru eleha. Dabru elev Yerushalayim v'kiru eleha. Yai, 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 yai,
Please turn to page 17. And we rise as the ark doors are opened. Here I am, so poor in deeds I tremble in fear, overwhelmed and apprehensive before you to whom Israel sings praise. Although unworthy, I rise to pray and seek favor for your people Israel. for they have entrusted me with this task. Therefore, God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, God of Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah, Adonai, Adonai, merciful, gracious God who inspires awe, I pray to you for success on my path. I pray for myself and my community. Do not hold them responsible for my wrongs and offenses. May my deeds cause them no shame, and may their deeds cause me no shame.
Accept my prayer as though it was offered by one more worthy of this task. A scholar proficient in prayer, unblemished in character, pleasing in voice. Let love be our banner. Let it banish our wrongs. May Israel's strife and misfortunes be turned into joy, renewed life and peace. Love, peace, and truth, may they prevail among us. And may there be no impediment to my prayer. Adonai, God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, God of Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah, great, mighty, awe-inspiring, God Most High, who said to Moses, I will be what I will be. May it be your will that my prayer reach your presence. For the sake of the righteous and blameless, the honest and pure of heart, for the sake of your glory, you hear your people's prayer with compassion. Blessed are you, the one who hears prayer.
נרעש ונפחד מפחד, יושב תהילות ישראל, תהילות ישראל.
באתי לעמוד ולהתחנן לפניך על עמך ישראל אשר שלחוני ואף על פי שאיני חדאי.
על כן, אבקש ממך, אבקש ממך.
אלוהי אברהם, אלוהי יצחק, ואלוהי יעקב, אלוהי שרה, אלוהי רבקה, אלוהי רחל ואלוהי לאה, שדי היום בנורא, הנה מצליח דרכי לעמוד ולבקש רחמים עליי, ועל שולחי.
We remain standing. We join together on page 20 for the Baruch Hu.
Baruch Hu
page 23. Bless Adonai who spins day into dusk. With wisdom watch the dawn gates open. With understanding let time and seasons come and go. With awe perceive the stars in lawful orbit. Morning dawns, evening darkens. Darkness and light yielding one to the other, yet each distinguished and unique. Marvel at life. Strive to know its ways. Seek wisdom and truth, the gateways to life's mysteries. Wondrous indeed is the evening twilight.
מבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו, אל חי וקיים, תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם מבעד, ברוך אתה אדוני.
ברוך הוא ברוך שמו.
המרי והרבים.
Please be seated and join us on page 28.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם.
Please turn to page 33. You have stayed long enough in this place, God said. Time to go forward. Turn your face to the future. Believe that you can cross this sea and survive. Inside you is a Moses. Within you Miriam dances, unafraid. Lift up your voice and sing a new song.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות עושה פלא, נורא תהילות עושה פלא. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים, לפני משה ומרים. זעירים kodesh, Nora tehilot, osei peleh, Nora tehilot, osei peleh.
ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגלו מיד חזק ממנו יאי לי 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 יאי לי 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 לי
Please join me on page 37. Darkness settles slowly across the horizon. The new year rises before us, its fragile moon awaiting our embrace. Heaven and earth entwine in their annual dance of recreation. A fissure appears in the firmament tonight, an entranceway into new beginnings. Out beyond the swales, the sea expands and contracts, keeping time to the thrumming of the universe. Under this Rosh HaShanah sky, the path before us is uncertain. All we can do is hold each other tight as we make our way home. We pray the Hashkivenu.
Hashkivenu, Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu, L'shalom, L'shalom. Hashkivenu, Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu L'shalom. V'chamitenu shomreinu lechaim u'leshalom u'leshalom. Hashkivenu, Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu L'shalom, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu, Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu L'shalom, u'shmor tzeitenu u'vo'enu lechaim u'shalom me'ata ve'ad olam. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha aleinu, sukat shlomecha hashkivenu, hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu L'shalom, L'shalom. Hashkivenu Eloheinu, Ashkivenu, Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom.
I invite you to take a moment and feel where you're sitting. And think back to where you were last year at this time, where you were sitting then. And everything you've been through in this past year, which brings you back to this moment. As we move into the Amidah, I'm going to invite everyone to rise, and everyone also at home to rise. But before you rise, feel where you're sitting. Feel where you are in time. And then think about where you want to go and where you want to travel in the next 10 days. These next 10 days are about change. And when you feel ready to step into that conversation, to step into thinking where you're trying to get to, at that point, at home or here, then please rise. We're on page 42.
Adonai Sfatai Tiftach, Adonai Sfatai Tiftach, Ufi Yadi.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avoteinu v'Imoteinu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el HaGadol HaGibor Ve'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Ve'Konei HaKol, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה
זוכרנו לחיים מלך חפץ בחיים וחודרנו בספר החיים, למענך אלוהים חיים.
מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה, רב להושיע מוריד הטל. מחכה חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומידו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה.
מי כמוך אל הרחמים, זוכר יצוריו לחיים ברחמים.
ולמען אתה לחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל.
We're about to take a few minutes for private prayer. We can use the words in our prayer book, but we are taught that our prayer is not complete until we offer a spontaneous prayer from our heart. Like Hannah, who we will read about in tomorrow's Haftarah, we use this time to open ourselves up and speak our truth. We have a Hebrew term that describes this: hishtapchut hanefesh, the pouring out of our souls in the presence of the divine.
As we all prepare for our own personal and private prayer, I want you to notice that we didn't use the word silent. And I am remembering in this moment at one of the first services that we had in May, when we had not been in this sanctuary for over a year. And at the very end of the service, a man came up to me crying. And I said, "Tell me what's happening." And he said, for the first time in his life, he knew what to say in his personal prayer. He felt that he had gone through so much. And I said to him, "Well, what had you been doing during the personal prayer before that?" And he said, "I don't know. I didn't know what to say. The words in the prayer book didn't seem to match what was happening in my heart." And so for this extraordinary time, this extraordinary gift of having the ability to pray, you can pray silently. You can hum. Maybe your prayer is just your breath coming in and out of your body. Your prayers can be memories. They can be beseeching. Your prayers can be anything. The words in our Machzor, words outside of the Amidah. We give you this opportunity now to pour out your hearts, to be quiet, whisper the prayers that come from your heart.
Who is the one who loves life? The one who guards their tongue from speaking evil, and the one who seeks peace.
Shana Tova. It's good to see you. It's good to be seen as well. As we gather here virtually or in person, praying this new year that COVID and its vicious Delta variant is waning, I find even more meaning in a meditation we read each week in our Shabbat prayer book, our Siddur. It states this: this is an hour of change. Within it we stand uncertain at the border of light. Shall we draw back or cross over? Where shall our hearts turn? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? In his song, Meet Me in the Morning, Bob Dylan echoed a psalm when he sang, "They say the darkest hour is right before the dawn." Well, this past year, we've experienced some dark hours as we stayed locked down in our homes during COVID, worried for each other and our loved ones, wondering about the economic viability of our businesses and our own lives. Whereas we witnessed attacks against people of color, Asian Americans of every faith, afraid to go outside, even in our fair city. Ongoing racism and abasement against Black Americans, rising anti-Semitism, and increased gun violence across the country. Our downtowns were darkened, our shops boarded up, and our own faith in the American dream nearly shattered as the capital of this golden Medina was stormed by a mob falsely claiming that an election was stolen, putting this great political experiment at such risk. And then on top of it, false news about what might save us, as people you might even know refuse the vaccines. Who would believe that this country, a beacon of such light, would be enveloped in such darkness? And what about us, we Jews, so comfortable as Americans, so confident as our adherents reach such great heights in politics and media and the business world? Some of us suddenly felt like, if we could, wrapping ourselves in invisibility cloaks, that we might hide from the scourge of anti-Semitism that's raised its ugly head in unexpected ways. Encouraged by anger over the most recent Israel-Gaza conflict, anti-Semites tried to shut down Jewish life on college campuses. Children in our local schools were blamed for something they had no control over, happening thousands of miles away. Chabad of Noe Valley was defaced, and other attacks were attempted but fortunately prevented. Did you see it, that some of the invaders of the Capitol on January 6th, what were they wearing? T-shirts that celebrated Auschwitz. In times like this, when I think about the covenant God made with our people, I sometimes wonder if we might ask if we might be able to exchange it, O divine, with the one you made with the Norwegians. And yet I have hope, tikvah. It's a liminal moment in which we find ourselves this year. The psalm Dylan was referring to was Psalm 30. We weep through the night, but joy comes in the morning. Perhaps the darkest hour is before the dawn. We may have good reason for trepidation. Shall we cross over or hold back? But I hope, inspired by the values we embrace this holiday, by Jewish pride it engenders, we, as lovers of Torah, of justice, of truth, will bravely stand up against the nihilism, the ignorance, and the hatred that's insinuating itself into American culture. And not just walk ourselves, but lead others as well towards a better future, the future of vision that's held in our sacred texts. Now, I know it takes courage to cross over and embrace a path that runs against the norm. In Jewish tradition, we have many examples of this because Judaism was never interested in the norm, but always interested in the pursuit of the good and seeing each person bring the holy forward and represent that which we call God, that cannot be seen but is seen in each of you. There's Moshe Rabbeinu at the burning bush, heeding the call to leave his comfort and go challenge Pharaoh. There's that moment at the Sea of Reeds where our people had to find the courage to wade into unknown waters and walk towards freedom. But to me, one of the greatest examples comes from the book of Ruth, because it's a story that we can relate to, because it's about an every woman, this Ruth, who was a Moabite, married into a Jewish family, when that family had fled the famine in Israel, and they found sustenance in the land of Moab, which was actually kind of enemy territory. But the Moabites took them in, and their sons married Moabite women. Tragedy strikes all the men in the story. The father and sons died, leaving behind the seemingly powerless matriarch, Naomi, and her two Moabite daughters-in-law, Ruth and Orpah. Naomi gets word that the famine is over in Israel, and she decides that she'll go back, heartbreakingly returning, impoverished as she was, to the promised land and maybe find some comfort there. Dutifully, Ruth and Orpah follow her to the border. And she stops and turns and looks into their eyes, and she declares to them, "No, turn back. Go to your mother's houses. Why should you go with me? My lot is bitter. I have nothing for you." And so Orpah does what was reasonable. She kisses and hugs Naomi, and she turns to go back to her family home in Moab. But for Ruth, she realizes this is her liminal moment. Will she draw back or cross over? And then she replies, as she looks into Naomi's eyes, "Do not urge me to leave you, for whither thou goest, I will go. Whither thou lodgest, I will lodge. Thy people shall be my people, thy God, my God." There in Naomi's darkest moment, Ruth declares it's time to look to the dawn. She steps towards hope and leads Naomi forward. And in so doing, she brings renewal not just to Naomi, but to the entire Jewish people. Because the tradition teaches us that this Ruth, who ends up gleaning the fields in the land of Israel as the poorest of the poor to feed Naomi, she eventually becomes the great-grandmother of King David. Think about it. It's an extraordinary understanding of the tradition. This biblical tome radically asserts that the Davidic or Messianic line runs through the womb of a formerly impoverished, self-converted Moabite woman. Isn't that amazing? "Whither thou goest, I will go. Thy people will be my people, thy God, my God." I think that today we might be guided by the light of Ruth's example and enter the gates of return this year, despite our disappointments, our tragedies, with the courage and hope that you can find in yourself like Ruth found. Hasn't your experience of COVID forced you to think about the deeper meaning of your life in new ways? As you stand at this temporal border, you too must be wondering, what kind of America do I want to live in? What kind of a Jew will I and my family be? How will I choose to be different than before? How do I know myself better and what's truly important in my life? So in answering some of those questions I want to take a moment and unpack Ruth's three essential statements. Whither thou goest. It's her statement affirming that she was choosing to join this Jewish journey, doing so with a poor woman not knowing what the adventure would be. But she joins the journey. Let her action remind all of us that to be a Jew today never has been and should not be defined solely or confined by religious definitions. Because we were never just a religion, but a religious-based civilization. Interestingly, in the recent Pew study about religion in America, they asked the question of Jews, "Are you religious?" What do you think people said? No. But when asked, do you care about Jewish values, about Jewish culture, about sharing Jewish holidays, and the well-being of the state of Israel, they said, the majority did, yes. Now, I think if I took that same poll of all of you in this room, in this great temple, I might get the same response. Think deeper about what does it mean to be and identify as a Jew. It's not just religious. Pew also proved what we've known for a while, that this Jewish community is growing more beautifully diverse. Among Jews 18 to 29, 15% of us now identify as a race or ethnicity other than white. And as the rate of intermarriages has increased, so has the commitment to raising Jewish children in those families. So let us be like Ruth and celebrate that we're choosing, despite all the challenges, this vibrantly diverse Jewish way of life as a journey of meaning and blessing. Let us be grateful for all those who join us along the way, because together they make our world better. Thy people will be my people. If we learned anything during this past year of COVID, it's that we need community. Doesn't it feel good to be here together, those who are here? Even though it's a little edgy. As Martin Buber taught, that great thinker, all real living is meeting. This new year, I hope you'll take stock of how you're being open when safe to meeting, to engaging with others, to making new friends, to trying new experiences, whether virtual or in person, and being truly present, bringing down the wall of the self to meet others in your lifetime. Of course, as a rabbi, I'm going to advocate that the synagogue is a great place to do that. It's a third place for meeting in a more stratified America that remains a truly democratic place where people from all income levels make the minyan, make up the community. I know how busy you are, and I'm always selling you to try to come. But once a month or so, put us in your calendar. Take time to come here, join a Babayit group, a small group, and make a new friend. Be involved with the social justice work we do with the Tzedek Council. Flex your social justice muscles as Jews always have. We are trying to make a difference against homelessness, against standing up against racism, fighting global warming together from a spiritual way as well. Take some Hebrew with Cantors Attie, or join a Torah study class, or be involved with our conversations about the state of Israel as we work to help it be an Or LaGoyim, to fulfill the promise of a place of peace and hope. Make sure that you're talking to people different from yourself and experience personal renewal, and widen your minyan instead of living, as so many of us do, in an echo chamber. Will you get out of that echo chamber? Will you cross over or draw back? And finally, thy God, my God. Ruth proves her love of the holy not by professing belief in a faith, but by living Jewish values. She casts aside her pride and she gleans in the fields, bringing food to her elderly mother-in-law, standing with family in their time of need. The ancient rabbis understood that God's presence and wonder was made manifest through her actions. The contemporary rabbi Arthur Green reminds us that the mystics of our tradition taught that the indwelling presence of Adonai is to be found everywhere, in each place, moment, and human soul. We need only to open our eyes to it in the time we've been given and train ourselves to notice, to start paying attention. Maybe COVID will help you, your experience during this time, to start paying attention in new ways. For all life is filled with opportunities to uncover and uplift the sparks of the divine light that are hidden all around us, waiting to be released by your act of kindness, of goodness, of blessing. To me, this is the essence of the Jewish spiritual journey. And all the things that we do, from prayer to study to holidays to Shabbat, are meant to help us create a framework of being that encourage us then to be those spark bringer outers and help the holy be present all the time. It's a living Judaism that Ruth practiced when she gleaned those fields. It's a living Judaism you can practice outside the doors of this beautiful sanctuary. Perhaps the darkest hour is just before the dawn. Perhaps we are more aware of who we are and what we can yet be. Perhaps joy can come in the morning with such awareness. We stand at the border of time, celebrating this Jewish New Year and the creation of the world. Let us renew our worlds this year. Let us step forward into life and keep working to push back the nihilism, the racism, the atomization of our society by living a Judaism of hope that sees God's presence in every one of you and every person in the world, if we will but take note and bring out the blessing in them and in us. So may it be God's will this year, so may it be your will as we cross over into newness. Shana Tova Umitzuka. Happy New Year.
Shana Tova. Our prayer for Israel tonight is a song for Jerusalem, Yerushalayim, which literally means city of peace, Ir Shalom. So we pray, we send love and peace and hope to all of her inhabitants, all the Jewish people, and all the world with this song. And we have our dear congregant Melissa Kleinbart, who has come to sing with us tonight. Play while we sing.
השמיים ורעכות אני נישא ברוח הארבעים עם כל פעמוני ובתדמת אילן ואבן שבויה בחלומה העיר אשר בדד יושבת ובלי בחומה ירושלים של זהב ושל נחושת ושל אור הלא לכל שירייך אני כינור.
אך בבואי היום לשיר לך ולך לקשור כתרים קטונתי מצער בנייך והשוררים כי שמך צורב את השפתיים כנשיקת שרף אם אשכחך ירושלים אשר כולה זהב ירושלים של זהב ושל נחושת ושל אור הלא לכל שירייך אני כינור. ירושלים של זהב ושל נחושת ושל אור הלא לכל שירייך אני כינור.
This has been an 18 months of being a grown-up. In a time of complete unknown where you can feel like a child because everything is so unpredictable and so unknown. Each of us, we have that little child inside of us that wants to reach out and to be cared for by a parent. Because the most vulnerable side of us can be afraid to come out because we're too busy playing grown-up. Avinu Malkeinu, it aims to strip that layer away, allowing oneself to be naked and vulnerable. When I was a child, my cantor, David Unterman of blessed memory, he would cry when he would sing Avinu Malkeinu because it would crack him open to that place of vulnerability. All year long, we have been holding ourselves up, but if you really want to do the hard work of these high holy days, you have to let go. You have to say how little control you actually have. Like a child who's trying to understand the world for the very first time. Please rise and turn to page 76. Avinu Malkeinu ein lanu melech ela ata. Avinu Malkeinu, almighty and merciful, you alone are sovereign.
Avinu Malkeinu lemancha rachem aleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, for your sake show us mercy.
Avinu Malkeinu, Aseh Imanu Leman Shemecha.
Avinu Malkeinu, act toward us as befits your name.
Avinu Malkeinu, shalach refuah shlema lechole amecha.
Avinu Malkeinu, bring healing and wholeness to the ill among us.
Avinu Malkeinu, Kara Ro'ah Gazar Dinenu.
Avinu Malkeinu, allay the harshness of the decree against us.
Avinu Malkeinu, kodvenu b'sefer geula v'yeshua.
Avinu Malkeinu, inscribe us in the book of redemption and renewal.
Avinu Malkeinu, Zochrenu B'zicharon Tov Lefanecha.
Avinu Malkeinu, remember our goodness and call it to mind.
Avinu Malkeinu, aseh lema'ancha v'hoshienu.
Avinu Malkeinu, act for your sake and save us.
Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Kolenu.
Avinu Malkeinu, almighty and merciful,
hear our voice.
Avinu Malkeinu, chatanu lefanecha.
Avinu Malkeinu, we have strayed and sinned before you.
Avinu Malkeinu, Chamol Aleinu, V'al Olalenu V'tapenu.
Avinu Malkeinu, have compassion on us and our families.
Avinu Malkeinu, kalei dever v'cherev v'ra'av me'alenu.
Avinu Malkeinu, halt the onslaught of sickness, violence, and hunger.
Avinu Malkeinu, Kalei Kol Tsar Umastin Me'alenu.
Avinu Malkeinu, halt the reign of those who cause pain and terror.
Avinu Malkeinu, kotvenu b'sefer chayim tovim.
Avinu Malkeinu, enter our names in the book of lives well lived.
Avinu Malkeinu, Chadesh Aleinu Shana Tova.
Avinu
Malkeinu,
renew for us
a year of goodness.
Avinu Malkeinu, chanenu v'anenu, ki ein banu ma'asim, aseh imanu tzedakah v'chesed v'hoshienu.
Avinu Malkeinu, almighty and merciful, answer us with grace, for our deeds are wanting. Save us through acts of justice and love.
Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Koleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chatanu Lefanecha. Avinu Malkeinu, Chamol Aleinu. Ve'alol aleinu ve'tapenu. Avinu Malkeinu, kalei dever ve'cherev ve'rav me'aleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, kalei chol tzar u'mastin me'aleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Besefer chayim tovim. Avinu Malkeinu, Chadesh aleinu, Chadesh aleinu, Shana tova. Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Kolenu. Moshiachenu, Avinu Malkeinu, Chonenu Evaneinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Chonenu Evaneinu,
Please turn to page 82 and remain standing for the Aleinu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו
As we prepare for the final moments of our tefillah with the holy words of the mourner's Kaddish, we think to this past year, to people who are no longer with us, only in spirit do they dwell in our lives. A time when we have lost so many, and a time when so many of our close family and friends are far from us. I wanted to read a beautiful poem to bring us to that moment of memory. It's called In Blackwater Woods by Mary Oliver. Look, the trees are turning their own bodies into pillars of light, are giving off the rich fragrance of cinnamon and fulfillment. The long tapers of cattails are bursting and floating away over the blue shoulders of the ponds. And every pond, no matter what its name is nameless now. Every year, everything I have ever learned in my lifetime leads back to this: the fires and the black river of loss, whose other side is salvation, whose meaning none of us will ever know. To live in this world, you must be able to do three things: to love what is mortal, to hold it against your bones, knowing your own life depends on it, and when the time comes to let it go, to let it go. We join together now on page 90 for the mourner's Kaddish. And I want to give people the opportunity, if you have lost a loved one, if you are remembering their yahrzeit, to please feel free to stand up and say that person's name out loud, and then we will, as a community, rise to support you. We ask the rest of the congregation to please rise in support of our mourners, and we say these words together. Yit gadal v'yit kadash shemei rabbah, ve'alma divrach ruteh v'yamlich malchuteh, b'chayachon uvyom echon uv'chayeh dechol beit Yisrael, b'agala v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevorach le'olam olmei almaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yetadar v'yetalev v'yetalal shemed kudisha b'richu. Le'ela le'ela mikol birchata v'shirata, tush b'chata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehe shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the source of peace bestow peace on all who mourn, and may we be a source of comfort to all who are bereaved. And we say together as a community, amen.
We continue with the Festival Kiddush on page 79.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafein. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'am, ורוממנו מכל לשון, וקידשנו במצוותיו. ותיתן לנו אדוני אלוהינו באהבה, that means in love, את יום הזיכרון הזה, יום תרועה, מקרא קודש, זכר זכר ליציאת מצרים, כי בנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, כי בנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ודברך אמת וקיים לעד. ברוך אתה אדוני מלך על כל הארץ, מקדש ישראל, מלך על כל הארץ, מקדש ישראל, ביום הזיכרון לחיים.
So a few announcements. The first announcement. We want to remind you, this is for you, Rabbi Mintz, to bring food tomorrow for our JFCS food drive as well as for the San Francisco Food Bank. So hopefully everyone has already brought their food. Bring more. If you're online, please come and drop it off as well. Second announcement, we'll put this right here as a reminder, is tomorrow we are having an incredible tashlich at 5:30 at Baker Beach. So please come and be there tomorrow. It will be incredible. We've already scheduled the Dolphins. They'll be joining us. So it'll be incredible.
And just want to add to that, bring blankets and chairs and snacks. We're going to have a longer time together there.
And tomorrow we'll hear the call of shofar in the morning service at 10 a.m. We hope you'll join us here and look and see the Yom Kippur activities, both outdoors and indoors, that will be happening to engage you where you're at in terms of your safety level. We need kahila, we need community this time. So if you know someone who's not affiliated, not connected with the Jewish community, bring them into Emanu-El or any other synagogue that will work for them. Those of you who are joining us through the internet, we ask you to be part of the community. In this time, as we're crossing over, let us stand together and be that Jewish blessing together. Amen.
Amen. Let's turn to page 94 for our closing prayer together. Adon Olam.
Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra Le'ed Na'asa B'chefzo Kol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Ve'acharei kichlot hakol Levado yimloch nora Vehu haya Vehu hove Vehu yeh b'tifara Adon olam asher malach B'terem kol yitzir nivra Le'ed na'asa b'chefzo kol Asai melech shemo nikra Ve'acharei kichlot hakol Levado yimloch nora Vehu haya Vehu hove Vehu yeh b'tifara
Vehu echad ve'ein sheni Ve'hamshilo le'achbira Ve'li reshit ve'li tachlit Lo ha'oz ve'ha'misra Ve'hu eili ve'chai go'ali Ve'tzur chevli ve'etzara Ve'hu nisi u'manosli Natkusi b'yom ekra Adon olam asher malach B'terem kol yitzir nivra Le'ed na'asa b'chefzo kol Asai melech shemo nikra Ve'acharei kichlot hakol Levado yimloch nora Vehu haya Vehu hove Vehu yeh b'tifara.
Do you draw back or do you cross over? In my father-in-law's last year of his life, we were on a sailboat crossing from Catalina back to Los Angeles, and he looked up at the sail as it was filled, and we were moving, and he said to us, "You can never turn a sailboat unless you're moving forward. If you sit still, you never can move." If we're going to cross over, we need hope. We need to charge forward.
The whole world is a very, very narrow bridge. And the most important thing is not to be afraid, not to be alone, to look around this beautiful sanctuary, wherever you are with us, to know that the presence of you means the presence of God in our lives. So looking at you tonight, I feel the presence of God. Do not be afraid. Take my hand. Take my heart. We're together.
בידו אפקיד רוחי בעת אישן ואהירה ועם רוחי כביעתי אדוני לי ולא אירא אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא לעת נעשה בחפצו אזי מלך שמו נקרא ואחרי ככלות הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא והוא היה והוא הווה והוא יהיה בתפארה והוא יהיה בתפארה והוא יהיה בתפארה.
If you could,
Shana Tova.
and also if you could bring your prayer books to the back of the sanctuary, and then
And
Shana Tova.
Tova.